So Aaron, as we know, is on Warlock, Warrior, and Hunter. He's starting with the Warrior. Give me just a second to get access to Tope's lineup here. Oh, he's also on Warrior, Warlock, and Hunter. We actually have a complete mirror match. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I think Liquid Hearth said that Warrior, Warlock, and Hunter was the most commonly played lineup for players who made top 4 in their open qualifiers in like the previous 2 weeks or something similar to that. Either way, you know, Tope is leading with what looks to be a pretty typical demon mid-range zoo deck. Aaron, of course, is on the Warrior control, and he has Handlock in his lineup, so there are some differences, even though it looks like this could be like straight-up mirror matches across the board. There are different ways you can take basically all these decks. Either though, the classes do have more popular variations, like you typically want to see, or you typically are used to seeing things like mid-range Hunter. So it wouldn't surprise me if the 2 Hunter decks are very similar, but it could very easily be that Tope is playing Patron Warrior here, in counter to Aaron's Control Warrior, things like that. So with the right hand, many people do say that Zoo has the advantage against Control Warrior. So while a lot of the reason for the Control Warrior is playing 2 brawls, still unclear whether or not Aaron is doing that. I think we've only seen one so far. So obviously Warax was what he would want to see last turn. Would have opened him up for a pretty sweet Iron Beak Owl this turn. No such luck for Aaron, but it's still far from a bad Warax if he chooses to take that route. Could play Acolyte and try to draw some cards next turn, but it's a little bit slow. Get the scores back up here. Gang Boss very strong in this matchup. It's hard to kill it fully without allowing it to spit out at least like 2 imps without a Death Bite. Unfortunately, Aaron doesn't have the Death Bite. It would be very good against this board. It's got to be what Tope's scared of.
What now?
Tope has a lot of burst in his hand. He could use that for damage or to clear things like Sludge Belcher, should they come up. Wonder how many Void Terrors he's running. A lot of people have gone up to 2 recently.
What now?
We are finally seeing the Owl and the Haunted Creeper with no Nerubian Egg on the board. Seems pretty reasonable. Saving the Cruel Taskmaster has its values, of course. Aaron could have also taken the easy clear with the War Axe and used Armor Smith and the Cruel Taskmaster itself to kill the 1/1s. Depends on how much value he places on Cruel versus Owl. More than likely his only Owl, though.
Get in there and fight, maggot!
This could actually be a very big problem if Tope generates a large Void Terror or even taunts up something like a Nerubian Egg in the future. No easy answer to that anymore.
From the void I come.
No brawl, even though it wouldn't be like the best brawl of all time. No very easy clear here. Execute's a pretty good pickup if he wants to deny more imps from the Imp Gang Boss. Of course, if he's worried about something like Mal'Ganis off the Void Caller, he loses his ability to answer that.
Let the pain speak to me. Back to work.
Not quite time for execute yet. Aaron's holding on to it. Seems like Zoo could pull ahead in the next couple turns pretty easily. Could even do some attacks and make a 6/7 Void Terror. Use the Void Collar and simply get another one with the effect. Probably do something more conservative though. Argus does seem pretty reasonable. He already basically has the board. Double Void Color isn't particularly good if Aaron does pick up a Brawl. They both will not trigger. But besides that, it saves the Argus, puts a lot of power on board. I was just going to say this board is getting really weak to Whirlwind since he did an Argus. And Aaron did pick up the Revenge, so the Whirlwind effect is probably going to happen. Unfortunately, it denies him the ability to play Sludge Belcher since it's not a Whirlwind, it's a Revenge. Costs a little bit too much there.
What now?
Revenge Execute actually is pretty good here. But he has to be scared of the Mal'Ganis, of course, so he's probably... Let's see. Yeah, he could Revenge, Armor Up, Shield Slam the Void Collar as well if he doesn't want to use the Execute, but then he still wouldn't be able to execute the Mal'Ganis that comes out if it was a Mal'Ganis. But the board would be clear, you'd rather play a Mal'Ganis, or rather be facing a Mal'Ganis with nothing else backing it up than... If Mal'Ganis was out with the board he had now, it'd be insane. I'm gonna choose Sylvanas instead. So we haven't seen an owl from Tope yet, and there he goes top decking it. Definitely the best thing you could have hoped for. See how he takes care of Sylvanas itself, though. Could simply use a power.
So many possibilities.
Probably wants to develop the Argus, though. I'd say that's probably smart. Doesn't do anything to protect against Brawl, but the Void Collars are going to put Aaron on a little bit of a thinking tilt there, whether or not he wants to risk what could come out. The more time he gives Tope to draw cards, the more potential there is for a large demon. He will see that the owl was top decked though, so whatever was in Tope's hand is something he's still holding on to. And it's a demon, it's just not quite as threatening. Yeah, we see Tope trade a little bit wrong there. He didn't trade in a 1/1 first, so he missed out on having an extra 1/1. Not the worst mistake one can make, but every little point of damage matters, so it could come back to be a problem. Now that it's not really a good revenge turn, Aaron might save it to get the 3 damage off. So having another 1/1 out there couldn't be bad. This is not Patron Warrior, obviously. Which we actually haven't seen yet. We're in round 3 and no patrons have been played yet. Well, actually, no, I lied. We did see Patron Warrior in round 1. Yeah, that seemed a little bit unlikely, with everyone really bringing a warrior so far, and they can't all be control. Someone has to play Patron, of course. Everyone just seems to want to counter it instead of play it themselves. Of course, we don't know what Tope's warrior is yet. We're still on game 1 here. Could very well be Patron.
Made to fit.
Another power, a little bit redundant. Could give Tope some added reach for game, though, later. Aaron doesn't really have a way to gain any armor, except for his hero power. I guess and the Armor Smith, but like no shield blocks or shield maiden. So if he can power through these 2 minions on board, Aaron's kind of running out of things to do. He can't reasonably kill Tope anytime soon with the Grommash.
Possibilities.
Wasn't a great life tap for Tope this turn either. Life Juggler is not particularly wonderful to see against an Armor Smith board. Looks like Aaron's finally going to risk these Void Callers. It's only really punished if 2 demons come out. I think if Aaron takes the risk here and possibly revenges, then we'll be in a very good position. Denying the use of Void Terror is actually insane too. I mean, of course Tope still has a power of overwhelmings, but it makes it a lot harder to activate Death Rattles like Egg. Generally. Especially since an Argus is gone. Now Aaron knows there's not much more to be scared of in Tope's hand. At least no Mal'Ganis or Doomguard. Those are the big threats. Don't think he'll be using removal on this turn. Aaron's at a high enough life total to where he can armor up and probably just kill the board. 18 damage. Or 19 actually with the Knife Juggler ping, if Tope wants to do everything. Did I miscount? I think it is 19, but Tope's not going to go for it yet. Doesn't draw a minion with that life tap. If there wasn't a Death Bite out, he could implosion his own Defender of Argus for some damage, but there's no reasonable play in his hand. Could this give Aaron enough time to come back? He can obviously Death Bite the face. Now he has Dr. Boom and Armor Up to do this turn as well. Sure, a little bit of it's thinking to just Grommash and go face as well. I mean, it's Zoo with no board, so there's not a whole lot of ways to deal with the Grommash. He's gonna take that play. Very aggressive. Puts him on a 1-turn clock though. If Tope can't taunt or deal with this Grommash, the game is over. Seems like it has to be what could be a life tap. Could just be Implosion into Doomguard. Or Doomguard into a power if it lives. He can't have 10 mana to Implosion Doomguard power, or what would be the proper line there? Alright, he has a Void Walker, and Aaron does have an answer. He can Shield Slam and execute it if he doesn't have enough armor. This didn't take a more risky lineup play just to kill the Grommash. It looks like the Grommash will seal it for Aaron. If he doesn't even need the shield block, really, he could have executed as well, but Aaron will go up game 1. And just like that, Control Warrior has taken its win. Aaron has Warlock and Hunter left. Tope has Warlock, Hunter, and Warrior. See how they decide to queue. Aaron may be going in randomly, it's a possibility, since he did lead with Hunter last match, if I remember correctly. Odd time queuing up. These players must be thinking about their matchups.
I will hunt you down.
Both players deciding, well, Aaron had to switch because he went with Warrior, but Tope deciding to switch from the Warlock Zoo and going for what actually looks to be either a face or mid, or like not mid-range, but sort of a hybrid hunter. It has the Wolf Riders, which is going to have some burst damage. Could have the advantage if Aaron's on mid-range, which I'm pretty sure he is from last match. The Aaron's mulligan did not work out at all. No play until turn 3 without the coin. Tope, meanwhile, could even go for the greedy turn 1 abusive sergeant if he wants to pressure. Could also coin scientist. Since Aaron actually doesn't have an answer, we could see a double abusive here. Alright, we do see the Haunted Creeper, so we're probably just going to see Al from Tope if the Creeper's played, which I'm sure it will be. I would say Tope has the advantage in this slightly, if only because of his opening hand and the fact that mid-range hunter can already struggle against the face variants. Without the right draws, Houndmaster at the proper time, etc. Alright, Bikal going to deny some value here. What's nice about this is that it keeps the scientist alive. So he has 2 threats on board. And he's going to be able to take out this animal companion, whatever it is. So it doesn't get Houndmastered on the following turn, which Aaron did draw. Misha definitely not bad, but still Abusive's going to take care of it with no problem if he wants to do that. Yeah, Abusive Gladezuka seems pretty tempting. It's a chance that Gladezuka gives the attack to the Abusive instead, but it's only missing out on 1 damage there. Still developing a secret. Double Explosive Trap, pretty typical. And instead of Gladezuka, he's going to choose to just use his hero power. Not really the one he wanted to roll there. Off Animal Companion. Still a little bit better than having the Houndmaster running straight into this explosive trap. Not a huge fan of that. You have to always kind of be concerned with explosives, since freezing would trigger anyway. Guess he was worried about snakes, but I still don't think it's that big of a fear to worry. You just don't attack your minion, but we are here now. Aaron's definitely the high-end Knife Juggler. Doesn't have any potential value this turn, even though he's staring down a board of 1 health minions. Can't clear the board with anything he has in his hand. Houndmaster, no value. Hunter's Mark, no value. Really bad start from Aaron, coming back to bite him.
I wonder. Well fought. I concede.
Looks like Aaron's just gonna scoop it up, and they're gonna move to 1-1 here. The faster Hunter deck definitely asserting its dominance over the mid-range variant. Of course, it's tough to say how that could have gone with better draws, like 2 kill commands in Hunter's Mark, no play till turn 3. Tope didn't really need to have too much there to be able to hold his own. So with Tope's Warrior and Warlock left, Aaron has Hunter and Warlock. Aaron's mid-range Hunter could carry him, assuming he sticks with it and plays against the Warrior. It's actually pretty tight against the Demon Zoo deck. Depending on the draws, it could be a pretty even matchup. Unleash the Hounds can actually tilt it very far in the Hunter's favor if he draws at the right time. We don't actually know how many he's running yet. I'd assume 2, just because most decks do run 2, but there's a chance there's only 1.
Versus Gul'dan.
Alright, game 3, Aaron is sticking with the Hunter. And we do see Tope queue up with the Demon Zoo again. Another horrible opening hand from Aaron if he doesn't mulligan this away. Hopefully it doesn't come back for him. We want to see a close game here, and that hand's not going to lend itself to that. Wow, Aaron's hands. Oh my god. Alright, well at least we know how many Unleash the Hounds he runs now. I'm not sure there's any benefit besides that to this opening hand. We know how many Unleash the Hounds he runs, and that's pretty much where it stops. I mean, Tope doesn't have a turn 3 play yet, but Aaron doesn't have a play until turn 3, and I don't... Oh wow, the entire top end is here. You see him flicking through the cards there. It's like, am I really drawing like this? Like, Unleash the Hounds on 3 isn't even very good. It can kill a Flame Imp. And that's pretty much it. Have to feel for Aaron here. We've all been there. Alright, well, he has a solid turn 4 play. I think we might just see an Unleash to kill the Flame Imp here. I mean, he could hold one, but, like, he has 2. At this point, you just have to start making minimal use out of your cards, maybe. Alright, I respect it. He's gonna hold it. He's gonna try to get some value out of these guys. Tope draws the turn 3 play. I mean, it's not even like Tope is drawing that insane. It's just a decently good draw. It's not like it's an insane top deck or anything. It's just, you know, I have a turn 3 play. It's Zoo. We're supposed to have turn 3 plays. We're aggro decks. Aaron's sitting over here like, well, I have a turn 4 play. Not sure if this is gonna be able to keep up, but it's what I'm working with. Like, Tope's running more dead cards in this matchup in the opening hand than Aaron is. Aaron has, like, Loatheb, Double High Main, Dr. Boom. Tope has, like, Power Overwhelming, Sea Giant, Doom Guards, as well as Dr. Boom. I forget if there's a Sylvanas in this one. Some Mal'Ganis for sure. There's a lot of things you can just draw poorly, and it's not quite happening to the extent that Aaron's hands are. And wow, we're just gonna see a raw Doomguard here. I guess he thought, well, I can discard Doomguard or Sea Giant, but hopefully I just don't discard both. Actually is able to keep both of his burst cards in hand. I don't think there's any way for Aaron to keep up here. I think he can live this one next turn. I mean, he has Knife Juggler Unleash. It's not completely horrible. But I don't see it lasting him another more than one turn. I don't see Aaron living more than that. Tope has the power plus whatever he draws. Could easily be abusive to seal it. This might actually do it if he can't kill the Doomguard. Well, no, I guess he can still... Yeah, okay, so he can live another turn, no matter what, I think. Barring like another power off the top, I think. Something like that. Or an abusive, of course. So Tope has 2 draw phases to win. He might not life tap, though. He might just be like, I can just win next turn with power in the Doomguard, or something like that. Double power. Alright, Tope's gonna clear this one up. Never mind. That was just a kind of a sad thing to watch, actually. Alright, so Aaron's more than likely on tilt after that one. And the last one. 2 quick wins for Tope. And coming from 2, I mean, he's playing solidly, but 2 bad hands from Aaron for sure. So Tope only has Warrior left. Needs to take a win versus mid-range Hunter, or probably mid-range Hunter. Since apparently Aaron is able to switch if he really wants to in this format. Or the Warlock deck. Warrior seems like a likely bet to take one of those games. Although, I mean, they're not easy matchups. Mid-range Hunter can beat Warrior pretty easily, even though we saw it go the reverse way earlier in the day. And, of course, Warlock could easily be Handlock, something problematic. Game 4 is starting, and we're going to see what Aaron chooses to contest Tope's Warrior. Aaron's going with the mid-range Hunter, it looks like.
Let the hunt begin.
No coin. Will he keep the companion? That's really the only thing that's, I'd say up for debate. A lot of people would greedily mulligan for the web spinner or the 2-drop, but the way Aaron's mulligans have been going, shipping everything might not be the best play. It's being results oriented, I know, but it is better to have a companion on 3 than have nothing but turn 5 and 6 plays. By far. Keeps the companion. Does not get a minion earlier. Still nothing. Definitely not as bad as the previous hands, but not as good as he wants. Tope has Armor Smith though, and not much else, so Aaron does have some time. Alright, still no turn 2 minion. Could have been Creeper, Knife Juggler, I'm sure he wouldn't have minded. Scientist, Web Spinner last turn.
Armor made to fit.
To my side.
And he gets the Leok. Not fantastic. Don't see it living this turn, but if it did, Houndmaster would be pretty good on it. Raw Houndmaster might have to happen though when it dies. There's no Shredder off the top or something like that.
What now?
Are gonna see the execute. Makes sense. Could have opted for the shield slam though. Wouldn't have hated seeing that. Alright, we have another animal companion. He might just take that risk instead of a Houndmaster.
To my side.
Shield Slam comes down. Tope retains his Armor Smith, is able to play a Sludge Belcher next turn. Aaron draws a secret, not great. He can Loatheb, which will contest the Sludge already. So that's good for him. But he has some ground to make up. It was kind of a slow start. Needs to come into some high mains.
Some still fun.
kind of a little bit of an awkward turn for Aaron. Unleash Kill Command is an efficient use of mana, but not a whole lot else. The Hounds will both die to something. The board will be clear, of course, but is it worth it? Other plays include a Raw Houndmaster. Quick Shot is also not too impressive. Does allow him to kill the Armorsmith first. I like setting up the snakes here, I think. With no Deathbite on the horizon. We don't know if Tope runs Whirlwind or Revenge, which has been very popular so far. Tope is able to test traps, though. No, he knows it's snakes, and he has the Execute, so he doesn't really have to trade here. He can just Emperor Thoris and coin Execute if he wants. It's very strong, denies the snakes entirely this turn.
By the power of Ragnaros, I have the power!
Aaron does pick up Dr. Boom. Definitely not something bad to draw. Tope has the Brawl in case things get too bad, though. Tope's still in the driver's seat, I would say. Unleash Kill Command is not impressive, but it's the only way he can deal with the Emperor this turn. Depends on how much Aaron wants to contest the board versus actually killing something that could be very threatening. He's like, you know what, if I don't play Dr. Boom now, then I probably just can't come back from this. Tope draws the big game Hunter. No need to sweat this Dr. Boom anymore. Could simply just go face here, not have to worry about snakes. Not a great use of his mana this turn, but like, it's a big game Hunter. Even if it costs like his entire turn, it's still worth playing. He can simply hold out on the Snake Trap until, on activating the Snake Trap until he knows he's going to Brawl a turn. To increase the likelihood that a 1-1 lives. That or Whirlwind or Deathbite, of course. And Aaron needs to start worrying about killing things himself. He has some good clears this turn, if he wants to go the Unleash Kill Command route. Or even Unleash Eaglehorn Bow. Going for the Kill Command. Probably use some Boom Boss to clear some things. Yeah, 4 damage isn't bad, but it didn't kill what he wanted it to kill at all. Could go for the Boombot here and hope it kills the big game Hunter. If not, then you're losing 2 guys anyway. Might as well take a risk. Didn't pay off in this instance. So now that there's nothing really on board from Aaron, we could just see Cruel Taskmaster for 0 and Ysera here. I think I like it.
I dream and the world trembles.
Back to work!
That's exactly what happened. You see that Aaron has a freezing trap now. Could set up with the snakes, but you gotta know he's not gonna attack with the Ysera. You can't play into that. Still no value from this Harrison Jones. We see so many attacks against weapons that just aren't coming to fruition in these matches, unfortunately. So if Tope for some reason decides to use this this moment to bait out a freezing trap, I will be more than a little surprised. He can simply fill up the board. He's already seen one Unleash the Hounds. As apt that Aaron has been at drawing to Unleash, it's not likely that he has a second. I think I would have even felt safe armor smithing there. Very least he'll just direct the Houndmaster's attack to there. Effectively gain a life and reduce 4 damage, but pretty sure Tope can't really do wrong in this situation. Already has 2 very powerful dream cards. Still has a lot of ways to gain armor in his hand. Like, Aaron's hanging on by the hope that this Harrison is the best Harrison of all time, but he's staring down at Dr. Boom and Ysera with 28 life. A small part of him has to be considering conceding. So let's go over his options. He can attack the 7/7 with everything, but then he has no way to get snakes, really. Boombot is just going to bounce by the freezing trap, of course. You could play a Raw Harrison, which simply wouldn't accomplish anything. I just feel for him, man. The Boombot's killing literally everything they could kill.
That belongs in a museum.
The Harrison is being played. So 7 damage on board, only has to take out 28 life, plus the 5 Shield Maiden could generate. I would think we just see a face here. I don't know. You could just... It's a little surprising. I mean, I guess, yeah, if you want to use the Ysera's Awakens, but... I think I probably just would have kept the snakes unpopped, like...
I'm made to fit.
I mean, I guess it's better to pop the snakes if you're going to use Ysera's Awakened anyway. So Ysera's going to get another powerful Dream card here. And Aaron knows there's pretty much nothing he can do, so he's going to concede. Wasn't as bad a draws as he has been getting, but Tope's going to take it 3-1 in this match, and we're going to move on to the top 8, where we will be following Tope, so stay tuned, guys. I'll be back for the top 8 match in a few.